No opening gag. That was kind of almost like a gag, but it was a Clayton's gag. It's like a gag when you're not doing a gag. Anyway, hi and welcome to ThriverTV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And today's ThriverTV topic is really, really cool, and it's one that I'm going to love talking to you about, because this one is really, really big. And we've talked about clearing our susceptibility to narcissists. We've talked about things like in my episodes, in my series of this, which have been things like fixing people and people pleasing and poor boundary function, and last week's episode, which was about crisis consciousness, and so many different topics. And you can look those up if you want to look up my YouTube series. You can put in clearing susceptibility to narcissists and you'll see a whole list of stuff. So really what that was about, it was like what made us susceptible, what made us an attraction force, attractive to narcissists. So today we're going to be talking about what makes us a narcissist repellent. And that's really, really exciting stuff. And what I find really exciting about this is because it debunks a lot of the theories that are rife in abuse forums, and they're all about that narcissists are attracted to us and we're really, we're like a siren to them because we're happy and we're joyful and we're successful, or we're attractive, or we've got lots to offer, or we've got our finances and our life really sorted, and that's what narcissists zone in on. And I'm really here to tell you that that is not what makes us susceptible to narcissists. It truly isn't. What makes us susceptible to narcissists is all of those different topics that I covered in the series, susceptibility, clearing our susceptibility to narcissists. Because you might be really quite surprised to find out that people that are truly narcissist repellents are actually very big, very vibrant, very people with an enormous amount to offer. And I'm going to get more deeply into that. So if we buy into the theory that being big and joyful and having a lot to offer makes us susceptible to narcissists, well, then we're going to dim down. And I remember I was listening to an interview once from an abuse forum individual, which was about how online dating is so dangerous, because if we say who we are and what we want, if we're truthful and authentic, well then a narcissist will go, right, I know exactly how to target you, and I know how to turn up, and I know how to win you over. And don't do that. Don't say who you are. And that just now, with what I understand about up-leveling and how we become truly powerful in our own bodies and our own skin, I find that so sad, because if we buy into, well, I can't be myself and I can't shine and I can't be happy and I can't be radiant and I can't be big and I can't be successful, I can't have a big life because narcissists are going to target me and they're going to take the goodies and strip me down, well, it means that we're going to be hiding out under a rock, we're going to be having a really diminished experience, and our soul screams at us when we're doing that, when we're in contraction and protection and diminishment. Our soul is screaming at us, wrong town. And how we know that is we're feeling intense anxiety and depression. But more than that, all of those fears that we're trapping inside, all of those fears of the outside world, and we're trapping them inside, means that the outside world will come to us to smash us open, because we're not meant to be carrying pain, fear, and judgment. That's not our true self state. That's not what we're here to do. So it doesn't work. Trying to play it safe, diminish, contract, protect. It's never worked. And that can be really frightening when we don't know a different way to be, because we think that that's the only way to be to keep ourselves safe. And that's just a complete and utter lie. So the surprise when you understand this is that the people that are the most powerful narcissistic repellents are people that are darn sexy and darn attractive. And the reason why is because they're authentic, they're transparent, they're happy in their bodies, they're happy in their skin, they're living an expansive big life without fear and without pain, and they are shining a massive, massive light. Now, most definitely, narcissists would love to embody those feelings and that life for real, but they can't because they're a false self. Now, why are these people so able to be magnetic and attractive, yet push narcissists away extremely easily? And the reason is because these people are not taken in by BS. These people don't hand over power. These people don't get hooked into false selves. Because when we think about the myth of vampires and a bright light, this is there's a lot of power in mythology. A lot of power, there's a lot of truth, and there's enormous truth in the vampire myth. And the vampire myth goes like this, that when a bright light was shone onto vampires, they would recoil and they would even burn and disintegrate like acid. They couldn't survive in a bright light. Now, there's a lot of truth to that myth. And the reason there's a lot of truth to that myth is because when authenticity, when truthfulness shows up in a space, what it does is it creates everything in the space to be exposed like a bright light is shone on it. And this is exactly what is happening when you have somebody self-partnered, when you have somebody radiant, when you have somebody authentically in their body who's no longer derailed by the young fears of, I have to play it safe, I have to try to work out what this person wants, I have to appeal to this person, I have to win their approval, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get love, approval, security, or survival. They're our young fears that make us twist ourselves into a pretzel to be what somebody else will want us to be so that we can win those commodities from them. So when we're authentic and we're in our power, we have absolutely no need to do that. We show up. We show up as a bright light, which means that we're truthful, we're true to ourselves. And that absolutely makes narcissists recoil. And the reason it makes them recoil is because they know that they cannot find gaps to be able to hook you into a level where they get to play out their false self and they get to maintain their false self. True authenticity will never allow that, because what happens is when you get the gut feeling, when you're authentic, when you're in your body, when you're showing up, you're not afraid to have the real conversations. You're not afraid to ask questions. You're not afraid to confront. You're not afraid to be direct if you need to be. You're not afraid of losing out because you already are a full source of love, approval, security, and survival to yourself. Just generating more of that with life and qualifying who and what isn't without fear, without pain, without neediness, and being able to walk away from them. So when we're authentic, there's a deeper, wider meaning that we also understand with life, and that is life has no meaning other than the meaning that we give it. In other words, as the generative experience of our own experience, when we're showing up into life as our belief systems, then we're giving life meaning, and life will reflect back to us the meaning that we're giving it as per our emotional composition, which I covered off in one of my videos, is who are we? We are our emotional composition. And what we understand is that fear is actually irrelevant, because life is always reflecting back to us the evidence of our emotional composition. So there's nothing to be but authentic. In other words, to be truthful, to be honest, to show up, to stop playing it safe and playing it small. When we've cleared enough trauma out of our body, that we're willing to do that. We're willing to play the game of life, because we know that if we're doing that, no longer do we do, well, I can't be myself because that person will tell that person, and they might do this and they might do that, and they might get jealous or bent out of shape, or they might attack me, or all of those things. We drop all of that. We just be ourselves and concentrate on our own development, which means unlocking ourselves from our old traumas to be more and more and more and more of our expansive self. And we understand that if life delivers us back the evidence of something or someone, well, then we can track the trigger and the fear and the pain in our body, which is going to be about persecution or annihilation or big survival programs. And I just wrote an article about that this week that you can see on my blog. I really prompt you to go read that, because it'll help you with what I'm talking about right now. But what will happen is you can track back that fear and that trauma, up-level it, and you will see that what is on the outside will lose all power, because it can only ever reflect back your limiting beliefs and your fears and your limitations. So what that means is the more authentic that we get, the less power narcissists have over us, until they eventually have no power over us, because we're not feeding them fear or our gaps anymore. So we understand when we're on a path of evolutionary mastery, there is nothing to do but start showing up authentically, and then let life be your teacher by reflecting back what is working, what isn't working, playing safe, playing small. For example, I'm not going to get on with my life because if I do, that person will tear me to shreds. Wrong town. They're going to tear you to shreds. Hiding out means they're going to come and get you and smash you apart, because you're not shining a light. You're like this gap, this hole of darkness and fear that just brings more darkness and fear, which is exactly what narcissists are. So, you know, my previous life of narcissistic abuse, when I was swimming in narc-infested waters everywhere, not just in my relationship life, it was all through my personal life, because it just completely matched the beliefs of who can I trust? That was my whole thing. Who can I trust? Absolutely, I had the beliefs I can't trust life, because the evidence was showing me constantly, and I thought it was the outside in, not the inside out. I thought, well, of course I'd have those beliefs because that's what happens to me in life, rather than I have those beliefs, hence why life delivers the match to those beliefs. I'm the creator, not life. I'm creating life. So that was going on constantly, was my belief systems generating the validity of those beliefs by showing me narcissists everywhere. Everywhere I turned, there were narcissists. And I certainly couldn't trust myself. This was the really big thing. I couldn't trust myself. I would get gut triggers go off. I'd ignore them. I'd rationalize them away. I'd make up excuses. I'd do all sorts of things because of my fears of losing love, approval, survival, and security, because I wasn't solid in generating that in my own body. I thought I had to get it from somebody else. So I would not align with my soul truth ever. I'd be trying to fit into everybody else's. And narcissistic abuse was rife in my life. Excuse me, 1 minute. Tiggy! Sorry, he was just about to scratch the couch. Sorry. See, this is authenticity. I am doing these videos without redos. That's it. Okay, so back to this. Now I understand he's just run around there. Sorry, little man, but you can't scratch the couch. It's not on. So see, I showed up. I trusted myself rather than thinking this is no good. People aren't going to handle this. I was authentic. I threw my cushion at the cat. That was authentic. Okay, so now how I am in life is, this is not about who can I trust. There's zero need to trust anybody. And this is the real quantum leap, because I fully trust myself. So what that means is I just show up as me, being me, being expansive and truthful and generating what I want. And then if something in the wake of that shows up as something I need to qualify, or I can just be very honest, I can be very direct, I can just ask for what I need. And I trust my gut. You know, if I've got somebody who's inauthentic in that energy, they show up, and then I can qualify that and easily drop it, leave it, walk away. Because this is the beauty of also having abundance beliefs. Abundance of beliefs are, I know that if a door shuts, that two more will open. I live in an abundant, unlimited universe. They're my beliefs. And the gorgeous thing about that is no more about that poverty, limitation, scarcity consciousness that we played out with narcissists. I've got to hang on to you because you're my only hope. Rubbish. And this is true with all of life, it is an unlimited reservoir when we get into abundant beliefs. And abundant beliefs are a part of absolutely that inoculation against narcissists, because it's like, well, if you're not showing up healthily and this doesn't feel right in my body, well, I can release any charges on you, and then I open up to a space which is about wholesomeness. It's about what meets my needs healthily. It's about what's going to flourish and nourish me in life in healthy, expansive ways. So can narcissists infiltrate people that are shining that light of authenticity and transparency and radiance? No, they can't. No, they can't. You know, it's not like narcissists tune into that and go, yay, here's a snack. Here's exactly what I want. I'm going to feast on this. Rather, it is the exact opposite. Narcissists from a very early age have been psychically tuning into people and weighing them up and working them out with laser-like intensity because they've needed to do that for emotional survival. They can't generate their own emotional energy. They've had to steal it from people. So they have to work people out very, very quickly. Am I going to invest my time in here to extract narcissistic supply, or am I not? Now, narcissists with truly radiant people that are self-partnered and showing up in their bodies, in their souls as truthfully, narcissists run. And the reason is because their hugest fear is to have their true self exposed. Their true self is that shattered, disowned, self-divorced, traumatized inner child that's a mess. And completely discarded and just a horrendous mess. And the narcissist's worst fear is that that's going to be exposed and seen. And if it stood in the light of a radiant person who was just in their own body, showing up as source flowing through them as them, unwounded, in other words, and radiant and authentic, the narcissist would unravel completely in that light, like the vampire would dissolve. In other words, the false self would crumble, and it would have to crumble. And a narcissist doesn't want that. To them, that's emotional annihilation. A narcissist has to retain the false self to believe that they will emotionally survive. And they can't have a false self standing in the force of that. So narcissists know there's no snack to have, and there's also the threat of incredible exposure of their true self. They're not going to be around that. They're just not going to go there. It was really interesting when I went on my cruise over summer, and I came back, and a woman from the community, she said, was there many narcissists on the boat? You know, and it was a bit of a party boat. It was a P&O cruise, and you can imagine, you know, there might be like, I guess, narcissists there partying away. And I was really, it quite sort of threw me, that comment, because I seriously did not even give narcissists one thought on the cruise. I actually don't give narcissists one thought in everyday life. I haven't for a long time, because they're just not a part of my reality. Like, I'm just showing up being me, and I don't even think about them because of the trusting me, and I know that whatever I need to do. So, I mean, I didn't have one incident. I didn't even have one incident where I could even see or look on a narcissist acting out. There was nothing. And like, you know, if we're unconscious, we could say, oh, well, that was just a really lucky cruise. It had nothing to do with that. What it has to do is, as the generator of my own experience from my belief systems and what shows up in my life to reflect those belief systems, well, there's no surprise that there's just no narcissists, because I don't give it any energy, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest whether there'd be 10 narcissists in the room or none. I couldn't care less, because I'm just going to be me regardless. So I really hope that that helps you, and please understand that this has got nothing to do with a cognitive decision. It's not like I woke up one morning and said, okay, no more narcissists for me. I'm no longer going to be a snack. I'm going to be a repellent. It doesn't go like that. You know, when we've got trauma and woundedness in our body, and we're in contraction and fear and shut down, and we're terrified, and we've got the beliefs, who can I trust? I'm not safe in life. I'm going to be annihilated. I'm going to get smashed. You know, when we feel like a powerless, traumatized child, well, then we can't just wake up and go, okay, no more being a snack. I'm going to be a repellent. We can't. We have to do the work in our body. We have to up-level those traumas to create space to bring in source and true self, so that we become radiant, magnetic, fearless, expanded, which are all true self states. They're the states we are without our traumas. So I'd love to help you learn how to do that. And you can do that by joining me in one of my next webinar groups. And you could do that by clicking on the button that appears on this video. So yay to becoming a repellent. And this really isn't about narcissists. This is about becoming our truest, most expanded, most honest self, which is the biggest service that we can ever be to ourselves, to our own joy, to the world. And I'm really excited about us all of us doing that, one person at a time. So that's it from me. And remember, as always, keep smiling, keep healing, keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.